Hello, good morning, team. My name is Asim. Welcome back to Cloud Asim YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to see the remaining topics, right? The topic which I'm going to cover now is that setup of Jenkins master and slave setup. Okay, this remaining parts we already covered, but today I'm going to show you how you can enhance your Jenkins, adding multiple worker nodes into the Jenkins server. Okay, so for that we'll go and we will review first. Okay, the difference architecture over here. See, if you check over here, you're going to find that we already configured Jenkins, right? So if you're watching from this day, right, so what you can do it that you can go to my channel, you can find Jenkins Zero to Hero series. In that I have episode 3. In that episode I have already mentioned that how to install Jenkins on Ubuntu EC2, and I have given demonstration of simple pipelines. Okay, you can install the Jenkins, then you can come to this if you have not installed Jenkins on your virtual machine, right? Okay, that's fine. Now the point is that let's build on this as well. See, I have one Jenkins worker node, right? That been working, that been hosted on AWS EC2 instance, and I have one pipeline also, couple of pipeline before, but now currently I have one pipeline which I have Jenkins master, right? Master installed on this AWS Ubuntu operating system, right? So now the point is that if I'm going to go for Jenkins, manage Jenkins, right? As I've discussed in the episode 1 and episode 2, right? So there is a provision of nodes. So if you check over here, it's clearly saying that add, remove, control, monitor the various nodes that the Jenkins run job on. Okay, so if I want to run some job or specific nodes, right, to give it more powerful for our Jenkins architecture, right? So let's say I'll give one example over here. I have one project, right? One project, that is one project has multiple pipelines, right, for the different environment. Let's say dev environment, prod environment, right, stage environment, prod environment, UAT environment, n numbers of this depend on the organization, right? Currently we'll go with the 4 environment. So I have, right, one project, I have 4 pipelines for minimum, let's say. So let's say our organization has minimum of 10 project, so that means I will be having 40 pipelines. Okay, let's assume that within that I have 25 pipelines running parallelly. So that means at least 10 pipelines, right, got triggered. So that my only Jenkins master will handle the load of this Jenkins, of this all pipeline to execute different stages. No, it's not possible. In case of failure of this Jenkins with the load, heavy load and execution of the pipeline, uh, it will give a disaster to the organization. That means all our pipelines will be stopped working, right? There will be no automation execution in this process. So to give the more power to the Jenkins master node, what the provision came of that, you can add different nodes, right? Different nodes to your Jenkins master. That means if I'm a manager, I need more power, right? I need more employees in order to execute different projects. So the Jenkins have this project in order to execute new. So what will happen? We will add more, we will hire new Jenkins workers, and we will give that power to this Jenkins master so that he will decide, okay, this employee will, this worker will do this specific pipelines, this will do this specific pipeline, this worker will execute this pipeline. Okay, for example. Okay, so you can add n numbers of worker nodes, and you can differentiate as well, that you can differentiate with this. If you have QA pipeline, you should execute this worker. If you have dev pipelines, then you can execute this pipeline. Okay, you can define that if you have prod production, then this worker node can be executed. Okay, this is also one provision. Okay, so now the point is that when I'm going to create one worker node on the Linux, how I'm going to add that, how I'm going to connect that with my master node. Okay, before, this architecture was known as Jenkins Master Slave. Now they have gone as master and worker nodes. Okay, no issue for that. So here if you check, I have master node, this is a master node. Okay, this is a master node. Now I need to add agent slave nodes. Okay, so the authentication method which we are going to use is that SSH. Okay, you got my point. So how we are going to do it? Simple prospect. So I have one Jenkins master. So I'm going to create one slave, that is worker node, master slave. Okay, worker node. On that I'm going to create some specific keys, that is SSH key I'm going to generate on the master, right, master node. Then the two keys will be generated. One will be the private key, okay, one will be public key. Okay, you got my point. This private key, okay, the private key which will be connected to master worker, okay, master Jenkins, and the public key I'll be sharing with my worker node, which I'm going to connect with the master. Okay. So whenever the request come between these two keys and the two keys are validated, then the connections take place. Okay. So you can give it simple example. The handshakes does. Okay. You know very well there is a handshake between when you're going with HTTP, HTTPS, right? HTTPS protocol. You know very well that when I'm going to go with SSL certification, right? I have covered this topic n numbers of on our channel, okay, in different projects. So what will happen? There will be one handshake between your client browser, and our server. Okay. Here also goes with the same thing. In order to make authentication between this with the SSH, what will happen? There will be handshake between these two. Okay, you can take it as an example. So what will happen? This public key will try to hit on this private key, then our Jenkins master will validate, okay, this belongs to me. Then if say the authentication is passed, then you can have the connection successful. Okay. So now how this flow will go on. Okay. Before that, already I have created one document also, right? This document simple. What are the steps required in order to configure your worker Jenkins worker node, and how you're going to connect with your master node, and then you can how you can trigger the pipeline on this worker node. Okay, these are all the steps. Don't worry about that. I have created one more uh, repository. In this repository you'll be finding this guide as well, and I have sample Jenkins file sample as well. Okay, so now the point is that let's go for the lab version. Okay. So now this point is clear from your side, right? So let me add two more points over here, right? So the prerequisite of this is whenever I'm going to connect this master node with the slave node, right? As I mentioned that here I require Java because Jenkins is built on what? Java programming language. So if you remember that in the episode, right, in the episode of 3, I have already given the demonstrate of everything, that I have installed the Java, then I have installed Jenkins. But in this case, if I'm going for the Jenkins architecture, where I'm going to connect Jenkins master with the worker node, you no need to install Jenkins on this. Okay, you just need to install only Java, because Java is a prerequisite of Jenkins. Okay, so that part we will cover. Before that, we don't have any EC2 instance that I can convert into Jenkins slave. Okay, Jenkins worker node. So let's go to our EC2 instance. Right from here, we will go for the lab now. So if you check over here, I have a master. So what I'm going to do it, I'm going to quickly launch one EC2 instance. Okay, so let me give it as a name of Jenkins wor- worker worker 1. Let's give it that. Then which operating system I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with Ubuntu, right? Then here it's fine. I'm going to go with 24 LTS version, which is supported by Jenkins as well. I have given the demonstrate of this topic as well, right? So here, if I'm going to go with, I'll go with the free tier because I don't require heavy pipelines to trigger now. Just I'm giving a demo of this, right? So it will work for me T2 micro. Then in the key, if you are using existing key, you can use it. If I want to create it, I can create it by clicking over here. Let's give it Jenkins worker, right? Jenkins worker key. Okay, that's fine. The PEM I required. Okay, RSA I'm going to go with this. Click create key pair. Okay, that's fine. And then network and everything I'll be keeping this point. Okay, so we are going to set up now network, right? I can go with the default VPC, but we will cover this aspect also. I've seen most of the video channels don't cover this point. See, there are some prerequisites. When I'm going to connect this master Jenkins, right, with the slave, or you can call it as worker node, there is a prerequisite that this should be available. This two should be created in single VPC. Okay, it should be in the single VPC, and it should have in one account. Okay, you cannot create in this one in the account A of AWS, account A and account B. Okay, So if you want to do it this one, then you need to go with the different like VPC gateway, or you can go with the with different prospect, right? And endpoints you need to connect. There is second scenario that let's say this one is in the VPC A, right? Above I have given of account, right? And this is in the VPC B. Okay. Then the point even you will feel you will find the hassle in order to connect. In that point, you need to do the VPC peering. Okay, you need to connect this to VPC, then only later on you can connect this master and worker nodes. Okay, in our practice we'll make sure that these two worker, this master and slaves, whatever we are setting up, that is in one VPC only. Okay, so in the organization you may have different VPCs, so for that you need to fulfill the requirements, okay, of this. So let's go back over here. So currently, if you know very well that the master also was created in the default VPC, and that was zone also. As I mentioned that it was in Asia specific AP South 1. Okay. So now this point is done. Now I'll keep SSH open. Then let's me give 10 more GB for this. Okay. Then I have review everything. Ubuntu I've selected T2 micro or 10 GB. Okay. I'll be launching now one new EC2 instance. Okay. Now one EC2 instance is has been created, right? Now that has been assigned with one unique ID. That unique ID will be adding everything, right? Like volume will be attached to this unique ID of the instance, the security group, and even the billing will be attached to this point of view. Okay. So now if I'm going to check this box, I'm going to get one public IP. Okay. So I'm going to access this, right? With giving SSH, I'm going to give it over here. This specific, you know very well that Ubuntu, if you're going to configure Ubuntu EC2 instance, then the username is Ubuntu. Then I need to give it private key. I have just created one more. So I'm going to check out with this. Then let us go and rename over here stating that Jenkins worker node. Okay. So let me go with the color tab as well. So I can go with any tab. Let me go with blue one, right? And let me click hit OK. So now my key will be authenticated. See, my key has been authenticated. So it's successful. Then I'm going to log in into our Jenkins worker node. Okay. Jenkins worker node. So let me zoom for you so that you have clear vision. Now the first thing whenever you take any EC2 instance, you need to update the packages. So for that, I'm going to give it a sudo apt update, and I'm going to give it a flag of Y so that it should not ask me the prompt yes or no, right? Okay. So let's get the update over here. Then we'll switch back to master. So this is my master worker node, right? So now our system has been updated, right? So let's switch back over here to our worker node, our master node. So in the master node, what we will do it, we will create the key now, right? So how you can going to create this key? So you can find the guide from this. You can follow all the steps, right? So you can do it now. Up to now, as I mentioned that I have created one EC2 instance in the same VPC. I have enabled port 22. Then I have access that using, and I have installed Java or not. No, I haven't installed that. So what we will do the next step, let's go and install Java. So the URL also I have given over here. With this URL you can go to the official page. Okay, if you go over here, you're going to find that the Jenkins in the Debian, right? If I'm going to go down, it's giving me the command in order to copy and execute to install Java. Okay, what version? Java 21. So what we will do, we'll go in the worker node and we will install Java inside this, because this is a prerequisite, right? -y we check over here stating that Java 21.07 version has been installed. So our prerequisite of installation of Java only on the worker node is completed. Now what we will do it now, we will go switch to master node, and in the master node what we will do, we will create one SSH key. Okay, by using SSH key hyphen dash keygen. Okay, so this is a command, we can just pass it over here and hit enter. So what will happen, it is asking the prompt that what name you are going to keep it. I will keep everything as default. A phrase I know required any password, though I will keep it like the same. Okay, I will hit enter. Then if you check over here stating that one key has been created, where it has been created, it giving the path over here. One key is a private, one key is public. It is in home ubuntu.ssh folder. Okay, so the point is that how you are going to differentiate this key to remember that which key is private and public. If you check the key name is coming dot pub, that means it's a public key. If there is no pub or dot private is given, then it's known as private key. Okay, this private key is very secure, you cannot share with anyone, so you don't share any key. If you want to connect anything, you have to manage with public key. Okay, so let's go inside the directory which is showing that dot SSH, because let me print you where I'm currently. So I'm currently in home Ubuntu. So directly I will go into .ssh directory. Okay. So if I LL over here, I'm able to find there is two new keys have been created. One is private, one is public. Okay. So the private key I'll be keeping over here. Now let's connect the public key and let me use the command of id and dot public. So if I want to view this key, it's stating that let me just unzoom this. The reason that when I'm going to copy, I need to copy in one line. Okay, so it's printing me public key. Okay, so I'm going to copy this public key. Okay, sorry, let me just copy only to this point. Okay, then I'll be going over here. By default in all your EC2 instance, you can cross check that one directory will be there. That is dot means that is hidden directory, that is hidden folder. SSH will be available. If I LL over here, you're going to find there is a one file that is known as authorized keys. In this authorized keys, right, I need to add this key or private key. As I mentioned that I'm going to copy into Jenkins worker node, right? Where in the authorized keys. Okay, so let me switch back over here. I can use any editor. I'll go with nano editor. You can go with VI, Vim, based on your requirement. Okay, so nano. Then I'll be going down. Then I'm going to paste this over here. Okay, so if I'm going to unzoom here, you're going to find that the key which I have just copied from my master, right, I have pasted in my worker node. I'm going to use Control X, Y, and I'm going to exit. Okay, so let us cross check and we will view we using the command of key that I'm able to successfully add it. Yes, I'm going to find the this is 202 SSH start, right? So if I'm cross check, it is SSH 202. That's fine. So one prerequisite, right? One step of what we have assigned, like what's supposed to do, that has been completed. Okay, so the part of connecting this is done. But now the point is that we need to go in panel in the setting and we need to do all the steps. Okay, so let me go to the worker nodes. This is my worker node. Okay, this is my worker node. So let me go for, let me close this as well. So I need to go into the manage Jenkins, right? Then afterwards you're going to find nodes over here. If you check over here, it's already stating that add, remove, control, monitor the various nodes, right? I'm going to click on this. It's stating that there is only one node is available, that is built-in node. That means it is what it is, a master Jenkins master node, because we have configured Jenkins, right? So that means by default it is known as Jenkins built-in node. So if you find here, I don't have any worker nodes added to that. To make more powerful my Jenkins servers, right? Jenkins server, Jenkins architecture, I will add worker nodes to them now. So I'm going to click on this node and I'm going to give it as Jenkins worker node. You can give it anything. Then afterwards giving the prompt that it's a permanent agent or it's on like temporary. So I'm going to click on permanent agent, click on this create. Then it will give you a lot of prompts that you need to configure now. Okay, description I will add it as Let's copy and paste it because this is only for reference. It's fine. Now it's asking me how many number of executors you want for this. Okay, so that means if I'm going to run two executor, that means I can execute multiple pipeline in this node as well. So that what is the numbers you want to keep parallel pipeline to be triggered and executed on this worker node. So I'll give it as one. Later on I will switch to two and I will show you that as well. Okay, now the path is that you need to give it the root remote root directory, right, from where you're going to create the workspace in your worker node. Okay, so if you remember that in the previous session I have already given you the path on which, right, sudo var lib Jenkins workspace. Okay, oh sorry, I missed out to give it cd, so let me give it as cd command. So what I did it. Okay, no problem. Let me switch to sudo su and I will give it a same over here. Okay, so let me switch because the Ubuntu does not have the permission. No problem, brother. Then I will hit enter. So now if you check over here, one workspace is already created by Jenkins. Okay, because in this master node I have installed Jenkins, right? So by default it's creating the workspace in the Jenkins. Okay, let me show you that as well. If I'm going back and ll over here, you need to find what workspace is created inside the Jenkins folder. Okay, now if I want to copy this and I want to go in the same path over here, it will throw you the error. Okay, so let me switch to sudo su and then I'm going to go this path over here and hit enter. The reason is that there is no Jenkins directory available here. The reason simple as that I mentioned that I have not installed Jenkins on the worker node. Only what I have installed Java. So this is only the prerequisite of this master slave concepts. Okay. So for that use case, I need to define that. Okay, that's fine. Whatever you say, that's fine. But you need to give one directory path. Okay, so what I'm going to do it, I'm going to go over here. So I will say, okay, create workspace in this directory because I don't have Jenkins path. If you want, you can create a Jenkins in Jenkins directly. Inside the Jenkins directory, you can create a workspace. But for the general purpose, I will giving the path, right, home Ubuntu. You can even you can give the path as per your requirement, like opt. You can give it slash opt. Right here also you can create Jenkins directory and you can give this path. Okay, based on your organization or the requirement, you can specify one path, right, that you're going to follow it. Okay, so now the point is that I'm going to create workspace over here. So this I need to define in Jenkins. So that I'm going to copy here remote directory Ubuntu. Okay, then afterwards label. See, you remember that the label is very important. Whatever the label you're going to give it, the same you're going to call from your pipeline in order to execute on this worker. Okay, so that means Jenkins manager is going to give specific task to this employee. That means I'm going to call that employee, right? Let's say Asim is going to give the task to Raj, so I'm going to call Raj, right? Come Raj and take the task. So if I'm not going to call Raj, then everyone will come, right? So if I say the please come, who will come? There is no definition, that there is no direct interaction. So for that, I need to give one label over here. Here I'm going to go with, okay, use this method as note this as much as possible because we want all our works to be executed in in the worker nodes. Okay. Now here the launch method. So what kind of launch method? As I mentioned that we are going with SSH protocol. Okay. So SSH protocol, I need to give the IP address of my worker node. So where is my worker node? Here I have the IP of this. Then I'm going to go for here. I'm going to paste it. Okay. So now the point is that how this Jenkins master will uh, connect with your worker nodes without any authentication, right? So whatever the step we have done as Ubuntu user, right? Ubuntu user. But then the Jenkins does not have the permission to go and access your SSH keys. Okay, it is not permitted by Jenkins user. Whenever you are going to create any Jenkins, like you are going to install Jenkins on your EC2 instance, remember that Jenkins user will be created by default. Okay, and that user does not have any permission in order to go and check .ssh directory. Okay, so let me show you as well that cd home Ubuntu. Okay, if I ll -a So if you're going to check it, it's only the permission is for Ubuntu, right? So now what we will do it, instead of doing this, we will go and we will add the keys over there, right? So for that, I need to add the keys. And how you're going to add the keys in the Jenkins? So if you check over here, stating that there is no credential, right? For that use case, what I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for add, click on the Jenkins, then in the user password, then I'm going to go fit SSH username with private key. Okay, ID I'm going to give it as worker node. Okay, one, and description Ubuntu I'm going to give it as, you know very well that I have logged into what, I have logged into my EC2 instance of worker node with the username of Ubuntu. So same I'm going to give it over here. Now if you check over here, it's stating that you do going to give the private key in order to uh, provide that to your worker nodes. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to click on this. Then it's saying that it required private key. I'm going to click on this add. Now it's saying that please enter your secret below. So what I required private key. So where I'm currently into my SSH. So this is my private key. I can use the command again one more time to just declare this. So I'm going to copy from this and from this point. Okay, from starting to this, please make sure to copy exactly. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to paste it. Okay, phrases I'm not going to give it anything, just add. Okay, so credential has been added. Now if I'm going to check on this credential, it's saying that Ubuntu worker node. Okay, that has been added. So later on this asking that which strategies you are going to uh, play on this in order to verify your keys. Okay, so I'm saying that non-verify strategies you can go with a different as per your organization requirements. Okay, so this is done, advanced is done, everything is done, right? Keep this agent online as maximum. I'm saying that use this worker node as much you want to use it, right? So we are handling to your manager. Okay, so manager is what, Jenkins master. So as I save now, then Jenkins will try to connect with this our worker node. Okay, so let me go over here and let me go to the worker node. You're able to find that Jenkins worker node is active now. Okay, so it's stating that the free space is 6.6 GB. Okay, 0 byte and free space is available, and it has this like, if I'm going to go over here, right, and I'm going to go for monitoring data, right, and everything as I mentioned, right? So now if I'm going to go for the configure, able to know that label I have given this label, right? So that point is that connection of as the prerequisite, right? Connection of these two aspect for the EC2 instance, that is done, right, by adding Jenkins public key, master public key into the worker node. And even I have taken the key and I have added into the Jenkins server, Jenkins dashboard in the form of Jenkins nodes, right? There I have given all the details of this worker node and I have given the key of private key. Okay, so the Jenkins will try to connect to this, and the Jenkins try to connect to worker nodes, and the two keys are valid because this is a private key and this is the public key. The two authentication gone success. Then afterwards it's saying that the connection is successful, right? So that's fine. So this fine for me. If I'm going to refresh, okay, no need of this. Okay, that's fine. Now the point is that let's go and create one pipeline in order to execute this into our worker node. Okay, this is our existing pipeline. So after adding also, you're going to find in the left side node name is given here, Jenkins worker node. Okay, so the name is Jenkins worker node. Okay, and what label I'm giving, I've given Jenkins worker node. Okay, so you're going to display over here the executors are only one. Okay, you remember that I have given only one executor while configuring. Okay, so where it is, I have given one executor. If I'm going to add this as two now, just to see what are the changes will be there. And, okay, let me refresh now. See, you're seen over here is stating that 0 by 2. That means I have added one more executor. If your CPU of your virtual machine is high and you have like high RAM CPU and configuration is very strong, then you can add multiple executor as well. Okay, so this point is done. Now let's switch back to our pipeline. In the pipeline, if you go in the configure, you're able to find that this pipeline was triggered with this name, and I've already showed you as well, right? Before that, in the master only, I was having one worker node. Okay, one workspace was created from Jenkins. You know what I'm going to do it, instead of agent any, I'm going to call from what, I'm going to call my worker node to execute this pipeline. Okay, so what is this code? That code is already available in my key over here. Label, I need to give it in two quotes, right? Quotation. Then I need to give the agent name. Okay, simple. I'm going to go over here, label, then and the name. What is the name of my worker node? Let me go to the configure. Then I'll go over here. Then I'll be copying this label from here, and I'm going to paste it over here, right? In your case, you need to verify while giving the name. Okay, label, spelling also like, right? Label. Okay, after that I'm going to say everything. Now the point you need to check out that if my directory also exists in this case, right, in my master node, and this directory also exists because I have triggered this pipeline before, right, in our last session. So this pipeline should fail, but the point it will not fail because the reason, this is all stages been executed on where, in our slave. Okay, that means our worker node, Jenkins worker node. So I'm going to apply this, and I'm going to save it. Let us test this flow now. Okay, so it has printed that it is successful. So let me go inside and let me go to console output. See, it was shown that this pipeline has been running on where, Jenkins worker node. You got my point? On the Jenkins worker node, and where the path is given, it is saying that home Ubuntu, because while configuration I have given this path. Okay, inside this path, Jenkins created one workspace. Inside this workspace, the pipeline, whatever name I have given, with name directory is created. Within directory, this then afterwards is executed first state. The stage was only to echo this command, right? Then afterward I say create one directory, create another directory, and print hello. Now this I have given you what, I haven't given you the overview from the Jenkins prospect, right? The UI prospect. Now you may say that, Asim, can you please validate through CLI? Okay, that's fine. Let's switch to our Jenkins worker node, and where I am now, LL. Okay, so let me list this. I'm going to find that one worker space is created. Okay, workspace is created. Okay, it is done by what, by Jenkins, and time also is noted over here, right? CD, let me go to the workspace, and LL over here. Then you're able to find that the pipeline is successfully created one directory. Okay, the directory, what does it contains now? Let me go inside using CD command. Then if I LL over here, I will to find that one directory with the Cloud Awesome 20 and Linux 30 is created. So let me check over here in the console output. It is also done mkdir and mkdir20. Okay, this one is successfully done, right? So let's go and review this our prerequisite. As I mentioned that what we have done, we have added Jenkins master to our Linux worker node. Okay, so now the assignment from my end is that please create two more agents, right? Two EC2 instance, install Java on this additional two workspace, two worker nodes. Okay, two worker nodes, install Java, then afterwards create SSH keys. Sorry, SSH keys already created, but what you can do it, then take this public key of the master and add into these two additional workers. Okay, and that means EC2 instance. The same flow you just the flow which I have demonstrated you, the same flow you follow up, you add in the view. Okay, after that go to the Jenkins dashboard, then you follow again and you add two more worker nodes. Okay, then afterwards use the same pipeline which I have just displayed you, right? And you can even get from our Jenkins our this repository. From here you can take the code. Okay, whatever name you're going to give it, add different names and try to execute. Okay, let give node 2, node 3. Okay, and test this complete flow, right? This will be your interview question as well. So get on the hands on this master and slave architecture, and don't forget to share, subscribe with your friend. We will be closing this session now. We have completed all the steps till now. So in the next session, we will discuss about the Jenkins user management. Okay, where I'll be showing that why you require role-based access control, right? Okay, so this flow we will be checking on in the next video. Don't forget to share, subscribe, guys,